Okay, seems like this is working. Oh, I'm sorry. So can you please give me a thumbs up? Hello. Yes. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? I'm just gonna let everybody know that we had a bit of hiccup. This always happens with me. I don't know why. Hi, Ariel. Yes, can you hear me? I just need to let me know that you can hear me and you can see me. That's all I need. And then I'm gonna just email a bunch of people here. Give me a few minutes so that I can let them know. So, Ariel, you can hear me. Say, yes, I can hear you and I can see you. Okay, cool. Just gonna take a few more minutes. I had this 15-minute delay because of technical issues. Not sure why this happens. I need to figure it out. But I have sent email to people so that I can get more people join the live stream. And thank you for joining and bring your questions. So as more people come in, I'll give a few more minutes and then we will definitely start. I can see there are now 3 people. And yeah, so we'll give a few more minutes. Cool. Get your questions ready. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna, because I had to close down everything. So I'm gonna just open a bunch of tabs here so I don't have to spend time looking for all these things. And I can dive right into the training here. So stay with me here for a few more minutes and then we will start. All right, I got that. And I'm gonna go to BigQuery. All right, now we got 6 people. Hi, Wang. I'm just giving it a few more minutes while I'm setting this up because I had some technical issues here. So I just sent a note out to everybody. People can join. So let's just give them some time and then we'll dive right into it. Okay, I am going to be watching my live stream here as well. And I think we can be ready. All right. Okay, how many of you are already familiar with Google Analytics 4? I'm watching the live stream here, so write your comments so that I know you're listening and paying attention. And then I will share my screen, go through the steps, and really dive into like what the process is. But how many of you are familiar with Google Analytics 4 or have some idea of what Google Analytics 4 is? Who doesn't know anything about Google Analytics or Google Analytics 4? Sorry. So Google Analytics 4 is the new version of Google Analytics. It was previously called Google Analytics App Plus Web or App Plus Web, right? Where you could put data streams from coming from your app into Google Analytics to get reporting, which was kind of streamlined reporting compared to, or like uh, very limited reporting compared to what you would see in uh, your Google Analytics, regular Google Analytics. But now what they have done is they have rolled out Google Analytics 4 to everybody for app as well as website. So when you now create a new Google Analytics property, it actually gives you the new Google Analytics. You can still use old Google Analytics along with it. But moving forward within a few months, I believe they are just going to switch over completely to Google Analytics 4. So what I'm going to show you is the capability in Google Analytics 4, which allows you to send that data over to BigQuery. BigQuery is a data warehousing system from Google. It's in cloud. You get all the data, hit level data, basically stored in BigQuery. So those who are not familiar with databases, then you'll get some glimpse of it. But my suggestion to anybody who wants to be a digital web analyst and dealing with these things is to actually learn SQL and learn BigQuery and Google Analytics 4, because those are going to change the way things are going to happen going forward. Anything that you have learned in Google Analytics so far will actually help you. So understanding the old version will actually provide you the basis that you need. But going forward, the way Google Analytics 4 is capturing data is different. However, the organization, the thinking process is still similar. So when you learn your previous learning of Google Analytics 4, Google Analytics is going to not go waste. However, things are changing. So I have a video that I did, a live training similar to this, where I walked people through Google Analytics 4. And if you are interested, I'll drop a link here or just let me know. Those who are interested, and I'll send you the link. Hi, David. And then once you get an understanding, you'll see how the things have changed, from page view based and tracking events that you want to track to automatically tracking events, and everything is events. So right now in Google Analytics 4, everything is tracked as an event. Any action that happens on the page or user stake is an event, which basically means is whenever the things are happening on the website, they can be tracked and sent over to Google Analytics. The data structure is kind of streamlined compared to how it was in past, and we will see that in BigQuery. So first I'm going to show is how you can send this event level data from Google Analytics 4 into BigQuery. So the way you do is go into your Google Analytics 4 admin panels. So those who haven't looked at Google Analytics 4, let me just go to the homepage to show you how it looks. This is how the interface looks. Very different, not very different, but different from how previous version was. Your real-time report is all in one panel right here. Now, this one is not collecting data at this point because this hasn't been made live, but there are other properties that have been made live and are collecting data. However, I have set up stuff here to send the data to BigQuery. So in order for you to see how this works, I'm going to pick another app plus web property. Go to the admin panel. In the admin panel, as you'll notice, it's very different from the admin panel that you had in past. All you have is two columns. You don't have a column for your view. So you can't create views here. All you have is an account and then property. Within the property, you have BigQuery linking, which means you can directly link to BigQuery. In past, whenever you had to link to BigQuery, you had to use a third-party solution to get the hit level data. And or you had to have Google Analytics 360. Can you please bring mic in front? Okay, can you hear me now? Is it still difficult or it's okay now? Can you hear me? Say yes, no? Okay. So this is, Umang, I'll wait for your answer, whether you can hear me or not. I'm going to continue. If something is not clear, I'll go back and talk about that again. So if you can hear me now, then we should be good, right? Just give me a thumbs up. Yes, no. So BigQuery linking, you can, yes, cool, Tushar. So you can directly click on BigQuery link here, and that opens up this window where you can link to a BigQuery project. So before you can even do that, you need to have a project in BigQuery. Again, if you're not familiar with BigQuery, the structure of BigQuery, then I have a complete course on BigQuery that'll walk you through and make you from like zero to hero, pretty much an expert in how you can use BigQuery. I can't warn people enough. I've been beating this drum for like 3-4 years now, maybe more than 3-4 years. Actually, yeah, more than 3-4 years. Learn SQL. Keep this in mind. You don't need to learn JavaScript unless you want to be an expert in tagging, which you by all means you can. But you need to learn SQL. You want to be a data analyst, a marketing analyst, then you need to learn SQL and databases. I've been teaching this class at various conferences at the SQL, not the BigQuery, but SQL. Once you learn SQL, no matter which system it is, it applies to others as well. BigQuery SQL is a bit different because the way data is structured in BigQuery, but the concepts are very similar. So note it down. Could you share your screen, please? Oh, I am not sharing. Thank you, David. So I am going to actually go back and start it. See, this is what I need from you guys. So I am going to share screen and right here. Thank you for letting me know. All right. Let me know when you see my screen. See, I can't always tell what you're seeing and what you're not. Okay. I'll wait for this to pop up. Well, let me know when you see my screen. Great. Okay, cool. So here I'm in the admin panel, as you can see. And those who haven't seen the version of Google Web Plus app, let me just show you real time. I'm just going to go back so that you guys can see it. Here, this is the new version of Google Analytics. Those who haven't seen it, I have a full video on this. I'll drop a link, but you can find it. I did a live session on it. I'm doing lots of live sessions for you guys to learn different aspects of the tool, technology process. I want to make it very, very easy for you to learn these things. Definitely the end goal is for you guys to sign up with me, become a student of Opticent Academy so that you can go even deeper. A lot of people will charge even for this kind of training, which I'm not. Like, give it for free because you guys need to know this. But going deeper, doing analysis, setting it up, all that requires a lot of expertise, and that's what you'll gain in these trainings. So go from end to end. But here is the interface of App plus Web. Now go to the admin panel. And here's the admin panel. As you can see, it's only 2 columns right here, no views. There is a direct linking of BigQuery. So click on BigQuery. Oh, I'm going to go in a different project because this already has a linking. So here is a project. that does not have any linking. In this interface right here, you can link to a BigQuery project. BigQuery, then BigQuery has this structure where the project is the top level thing where you create all these, your data, repositories are right here. So in BigQuery, you have to have a project. So as you can see, I have several projects here. Then you can add data sets as I've added here. So first is, I'm going to go back here. So first you need a BigQuery project. In the BigQuery project, this Google or Google Analytics 4 is going to send the data to. It'll create a data set for you, so you don't have to worry about it. As I mentioned before, to understand the full structure of BigQuery, how queries run, and etc., I have a complete course on that. But you don't have to sign up for the course. You can learn a bunch of stuff here. This is standard GA to chart. It's not Google, it's Google Analytics 4, which is the new free version. So it's not 360. Previously, this was only available in 360. Now it's open to everybody. Why? Google realizes that more and more companies are trying to bring more data into the mix. And also that's where the industry is going. You can't just look web analytics in isolation in aggregated view. You have to have detailed data about your users' behavior, your marketing performance. You also need to bring in other data sources into the mix. And that's why having all your data in BigQuery will allow you to do that. So web data, you have a CRM data, you might be having a CSV file sitting somewhere, you have Facebook data coming in, YouTube data coming in, all that stuff provides you a complete view of how user is engaging with your brand, with your marketing messages, etc. And that's why I said this, and I'm going to repeat it again. You guys should all invest time in SQL, learning it, particularly with a focus on marketing analytics, digital analytics. And again, plug in. I have a course that I've been teaching for several years, which is on SQL, even before Google made it public to everybody. I've been teaching that for 4 or 5 years now, that you guys can learn a lot of marketing use cases. And I'm doing a bunch of free trainings as well. So if you don't want to sign up, that's fine. But if you sign up, then you get access to me and my team's expertise. So we will work together to make that happen. But here is where you can start to link BigQuery. So click on link, and then you have to pick a BigQuery project. So you need to have a BigQuery project ready before you can do this. If I click on choose a BigQuery project, it gives me all the projects that I have. So I'm going to cancel this and I'm going to show you step by step. So go to BigQuery. Right here, I can create a new project. I already have these projects available. So in BigQuery, all you have to do is console.google.com/BigQuery, and you will be there. In BigQuery, create a new project, and I'm going to call it live training project. And rest, I can leave it as it is, no organization, don't need it, optional, and create it. Now I've got a new project. It's creating it right now. As you can see, now it's ready. I'm going to select this project and I'm now in live training project. I go back to my Google Analytics. Let me see if it refreshed or not. It didn't. So what I'm going to do is refresh and see if it picks it up now. Yep. So live training project is now available for me to choose. So I'm going to pick this. So what this is telling is, hey, take the data from this Google Analytics property that I just linked to and send the data to my project in BigQuery. So you have a live training project that I created. Definitely you'll give a better name that aligns with your business site objective, whatever you're trying to do. Once you do that, then you confirm, and now your linking is done. However, it's not completely done. Next, you need to configure what kind of data streams you have. You only have one data stream, which is just coming from website. The more data streams you have, you can pick those. And then you have to pick the frequency of this data. Do you want the events as they're coming in? So if you are familiar with Google Analytics 4, everything is an event. Page view is an event. Action, scrolling by users is an event. Button clicks are events. Anything that user is doing or the browser is doing can be tracked as an event. So you can send the data in real time by clicking streaming. So by doing this, every second, within few seconds, its data is going in BigQuery. And by doing a daily dump, I'm also taking a full export of data once a day. If you check both these options, then you'll see streaming in real time for today. But then at the end of the day, you'll get a full daily dump. And I'll show you that. If you only pick daily streaming right there, that means it's only going to take the data at the end of the day and then put it in your BigQuery. If you only pick streaming, then only real-time data is going there. So Tushar has a question here. Does BigQuery store only event level data or can have session level? Yes, session, everything. So again, you have to understand how Google Analytics 4 works. Google Analytics 4 is event-based. That means everything is an event, but there are attributes of those events and users. Those are tracked. So when an event happened, let's say it's a click happened, then what session was, what was the session ID? What was the user ID? What was the page this happened? Where did the user come from, etc. Everything is tied to that event. So every event has a bunch of parameters and values. And I'll show you that in BigQuery. It's pretty interesting on how this is changing and how they are tracking. It's simplified in some ways, but also complicated because now you have to think about what do you want to track, how do you want to track, and how do you want to query and think about reports. There is a lot more in Google Analytics 4 that will be coming up. I'm working on the course, so that will be part of the membership as well as it becomes available. And you'll see how this works. Good question. I really like, because that's the thinking I want from you guys, is to ask more questions, to clarify it. And so that I can also put those questions in my training when I'm developing them. Because if you have a question, I'm sure thousands of others also have the similar question. So I'm going to pick both of these options. How many days of data can it store? That depends on you. Again, a great question. You can store as much data as you want. You have to pay for BigQuery. BigQuery is free to a limit. That means you can store up to a certain amount. And that also is covered in another video that I created on BigQuery cost, free tiers, etc. So that's also available on my channel. But there is a small cost associated with storage and querying. So watch that video. If you still have questions, I'm here. I'll be happy to answer them. But you can store for years if you want. So then you click on next and you have to submit. Now, at this point, it's still not connected. The linking is done. It's still not connected. What you need to do is also have an API created. So you go into right here. Let me find the Google Analytics API. What can you guys see here? Let me just pull it up right here. Yeah, so you have to go to API services, as you can see on my screen. Can you still see my screen? Yeah. So go to API services and library dashboard. First, you have to enable the BigQuery API. So if you are here, go to library and find right here, BigQuery API. That's the API that makes the connection between Google Analytics 4 and BigQuery. So it's going to take the data from Google Analytics and transfer it over to that project that you have created a link between. So you still need a way to transfer that data. Here, if this is not enabled, you'll click on Enable API. It's free. You are not paying for this thing. Once that connection is done, you have to go back into that project. Where is that project? Oops. Live training project. This is where you'll enable. So BigQuery API, that's where in the project you'll enable it. So it's already enabled for me because once you enable it for one, it's already enabled for everything that you need to do. Then you also need to create an API key. So if I'm going here and I go to credentials, this is where you need to create an API key to create that authorization. So the email, you need a particular email that's given to you when you sign up for this live training. So if I go and click on this one, and I'm gonna delete it right here to show you this again. When you click on link, click on learn more. This is where it provides you that email address. And I'm going to put that in my training as well. So like what email address. Once you give permissions to your API or add this as an editor in your API, now you're ready to actually go and see the data within hours, because when you first set it up, it takes about, like I've noticed, about 4 or 5 hours. They say 24 hours, but the data will start to come in. So that's what you have to do once you are in this Google API console. So, okay. So far, so good. Any questions so far? Right. So now your APIs are ready. Then you go to BigQuery and your data will start to flow. Right now, as you'll notice, the data is not there. But once the data starts to flow, you'll see something like this. Not this one. New project and analytics data. And Optizen test and analytics data. In these two scenarios, what I did is in this one, I only set daily real-time stream, not the daily stream. So you don't see a daily stream right here. In this one, you have the daily streams as well. So I've got for 1021 and I've got for 1020. That's the data that gets stored. So I'm going to show you what's in this table so you can understand how this works. So first, I'm going to do a query table and I am going to do select star. So what I'm doing is looking at what data has been sent to BigQuery. Yeah. Okay. So you want to see the API query steps again. So you go to Google Console API. I'm going to go back here again. Right. You go to your BigQuery, your APIs and services, library, and you find BigQuery right here. For some reason, I type BigQuery comes up. You have to enable this. Okay, that's the query you have to enable. Okay, make sense? Service account, I think. Yep, right here is where you need to give access to that account. Does that make sense? So here is an account. Where did it go? Right here. And if you want, I will drop this link here. So we verify you have added the link. You need to give in this permission. So there is a bunch of, already there is a bunch of steps listed here, but they are not very clear when you try to go through them. All you have to do is go to your APIs and give the permission and then add that account. And I can show you exactly how that's done if you need help with it. All right, cool. Any other questions here? So I can help you if you need help to go through this. So what I've done here is in BigQuery, I'm looking at this intraday event. So every day or every few seconds, this table right here gets populated with the data from Google Analytics 4. So right here, when I selected, what I'm doing here, those who are not familiar with SQL, I'm doing is select star, which means select everything from this table that contains the data, and I'm limiting it by 1,000 records. I don't want to do a lot of records because every time I run a query within BigQuery, it's going to cost me. There is a limit there is a free limit, and I don't want to cross that free limit. So I'm very careful in how many times I query it because I'm doing this training for a lot of people and doing lots of querying. However, I don't think you guys will have to worry about it. You'll never go, if you go over the limits, Google will ask you whether you want to pay for it or not. But BigQuery is free, so you don't even have to. BigQuery Sandbox is free, so you don't even have to pay or put a credit card. So they have no way of charging you. And that's what I have as a Sandbox. But Google also gives you $300 credit for the first year. So if you want to use the full functionality, play with it, you have a $300 credit that you can use to run any queries that you want. Okay, so the data that comes in BigQuery is this way. You got an event date. When did this event happen? What was the timestamp? What was the name of that event? So this is a custom event that I had created. And then what are the parameters? So somebody was asking me about the session, right? This contains what was the session ID, session number, what keyword term was used, what campaign it came from, what source. So I know exactly for each action, I can have this much information. Like if a button is clicked, I know exactly where the user came from, what was the medium, how much was the session engaged or not, source, campaign, page title, session ID, term, anything I want. This random number is passed by me. So I'm passing this information. I was just testing it to see what can I pass, and page location, etc. You can see that for each event, you have this information coming to you. Like here, page view. This page view happened. And here is a session ID, entrance, source, campaign, medium, etc. Here is a user engagement event. Here is a custom event that I created. You can create a bunch of custom events, 25 custom events on top of the events that are already there. Or sorry, custom events, and you can pass parameters on top of that as well. So you have 25 values in there you can pass. Custom event by Anil. Look at this. So you have all the information about that user, that event. So if I want to know who downloaded a white paper from my site, I can track that as an event. Download is tracked as an event. And then I can know exactly all the details that I want to pass for that event. I want to know where the user came from, what was the location of that download, how many sessions, page refers, and anything custom that I want to pass. I might even be able to pass the user ID or the customer ID from the backend. What preferences customer has, what's the language they speak, how many people in their family, etc. I can pass all that information to Google Analytics 4 and then get it in BigQuery. Or I can simply pass a customer ID. Once I have that customer ID, then I can bring in other data sources in here. So I can add more data sources and bring more information about that user. Yes, once you track it, it's available as well, like how many products, what products, session, etc. You have to configure them. That's not configured for this profile that I'm showing you. So all those are events as well, like product views, product add to cards, checkout, everything is there. Your transaction value, everything can be passed and be available in BigQuery. So you can see how powerful BigQuery is. the way you were doing reporting is changing, right? You can get deeper into it, not just saying, hey, we got these many transactions, these many product views, etc. But you have much deeper information on those users. Really helps you understand how the user is going through their journey, where they are, etc., and also what's working and what's not. So I'm going to show you another thing. Now, let's say I have this query. The structure that's different here, those who are familiar with SQL, with like a relational databases such as Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, etc., you'll notice that each row here in those databases, each row has uh, columns attached to it. However, in this case, each row can have multiple values within it. See that? It's not one column, but all the values of event parameters and values are stored in one column. So in order to do that, you use something called unnest, because this is a nested value. So for example, I am going to run this query and show you ID, event name, and event parameters for this in this table. So I'm running this query. And as you can see now, there is a separate row for medium, separate row for title, engagement, etc. Makes it much easier for you to now query the data. So through this, we can have visualization data. We can connect. Yes, you can connect anything you want. You can export it, or you can explore this data and in Data Studio. So directly within this, once you narrow down, the key is to narrow down. If you try to do everything out as it is, there's no point doing it. What you want to do is narrow down to a subset. Hey, I want to look at certain things. And I'll show you, for example, here. Here's another query. Let's say I have this where I want to know first visit and page referrer. I only want to get the page referrer values. So then you can see here, my event is first visit, and I'm looking at the parameter value first referrer. Where is the user coming from? Now that's a narrow down set of data. I can then go explore this in Google Data Studio. Now, this is a very simple way of writing SQL query. All I'm doing is give me all these values where event name is first referrer and event parameter is page referrer, right? But as you'll notice right here, oh, it's still running or? Oh, it's still picking up only 1,000 here because it has cached them. I am going to go back to my previous queries to show you the amount of the right here. So you can see the events, different events and different parameters. So if I want to look at only the sources where the custom event by Anil, or if I want to look at where the source is only Facebook, I can do all those things right here. I'm gonna go make it more. And here you can see session start, whether the scroll, I want to know who's scrolling, which session is scrolling, what page title. So they were on Google Analytics and 4 plus BigQuery. Here is the scroll percentage. Somebody scrolled 90%. And I know exactly that session ID. If I have a user ID, I can know like, hey, Tushar went to this page. If I knew your ID and I can match it offline, because you can't do PII within Google Analytics, you can do it here. I can know exactly like, hey, this is Tushar. I know he scrolled 90% on Google Analytics plus BigQuery. And then I can also see, hey, somebody only scrolled. So let's say if the scroll event is only, I'm going to copy this and event is scroll. So event name is scroll and run. Then I can see all the scroll events and I can see who's scrolling, which pages they are scrolling, etc. I can narrow down to a particular page. So let's say if I just want to have an event parameter and so that I don't have to type and I'm just going to look at where's the page name, page title. Now I can look at who's scrolling on which pages and I have much more detailed information. I can even pass in a session ID to see which sessions are scrolling. So what pages are they scrolling on? These are the pages like people are scrolling on. So I get an idea. Now I can go and evaluate that page deeper. So that's the value that by putting your BigQuery, your Google Analytics data in BigQuery helps you with. As I mentioned before, you can bring in other data sources to enrich this data. So that's all I have for today. And now you can see if you have Google Analytics, go ahead and play with BigQuery, put your data in BigQuery and see what kind of analysis you can conduct here. And if you want more details, whether on BigQuery, like the full complete course on BigQuery, or if you have issues with connecting your BigQuery or Google Analytics to BigQuery, do let me know. But there are courses that'll help you go through this and really get you make you expert in Google Analytics 4, BigQuery, etc. And I'm going to drop a coupon for you guys. If you are interested, I'd love to have you become a member of Optizent Academy. My goal here is provide as much free training. Definitely everything is valuable. So even if you just attend these free trainings, bit by bit, you'll get tons of information. You don't have to pay anything. Not everything is going to be taught here, but still you'll get lots of information that you can go and explore on your own. Everything is available if you just know how to organize and find it. How to pull SFMC. What is SFMT? Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Is that what you're referring to? Yeah. So for that, if you have APIs that directly connect to BigQuery, sure, you can do that. If you don't, maybe you get a data dump from that you can put it in CSV file and you can add that here as well. That is covered, like, how do you bring external data sources? Not everything will be covered in the course, but if you have a flat file, I'll cover that. If you have APIs, I'll cover that. So you can use APIs. Just like we are using APIs to pull data. So BigQuery and Google Analytics data, there is also already a API to do it. You can do similar stuff with Salesforce or any other data source. Cool. I'm glad, David. Yes. Any other questions? No? All right, then. If you don't have questions, then that's all I have. I will create more training around it. But I would love to have you guys join my membership and become a member, because that's what I do. And there's tons of courses planned and already there are 25 plus courses already. Those who are just starting out and just need to start, there is also a starter membership, which is not a complete membership, but it gives you 12 plus courses such as Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, A/B testing, basic SQL stuff is included there as well, Google Optimized Data Studio, etc. So those courses are there. But then there are advanced courses that is in the pro membership. Yeah, I mean, so it's right there. If you want, I can definitely, this recording will be there so you can look at this query to do, and I will maybe write an article on this. So yes, Tushar, reach out to me and I'll help you with that. Cool. Any other questions I can answer? I still have a few minutes, so I can answer any questions you might have. What do you think about using GA for BigQuery in internet affiliation? I'm not sure what you mean by internet affiliation. And make sure to give a thumbs up to this video if you liked it. So are you talking about affiliate marketing area? Any more details on that? Okay, we can take it offline if you have a question that I'm not able to understand, like what that means. But yeah, I mean, using GA plus BigQuery, putting the data in BigQuery is going to be very helpful for you. Those who are freelancers providing these services to others, learn this. I can't say this enough time. You need to learn this because that's where everything is heading. And another training that I'm doing with another instructor is on Python. Python is a machine learning, or Python is a multi-purpose language, programming language that you can do to build machine learning models. What machine learning models will be able to do is to help predict what's going on. And Google Analytics is also doing some prediction in Google Analytics 4. So you have prediction capabilities within Google Analytics 4. They're using machine learning. However, in the training that I'm doing is, let's say you have this data in BigQuery, you're bringing in Salesforce data, you're bringing in CRM, other databases, CRM, CSV files, all of those you are bringing in, and you want to build a model. Models might be, hey, who is the customer who's likely to buy, right? What kind of attributes do they have? What about people who look at a certain page? Are they likely to buy or less likely to buy? People who scroll 90%, what is their propensity to buy or churn? Somebody who does this, who is going to open my email? All those things can be done with machine learning. So think about when you have that power, how powerful your analysis becomes. Not you're saying to your customers and saying, hey, here it is, and I'll come to that, Ariel, but hey, here is how many people visited, how many had time on site, and bounce. Well, bounce is not even mentioned here anywhere. I'm not sure. I have to look through the data and figure out what's happening there. But bounce rate is not even part of the new uh, reporting that I've seen. A lot of people have spent years just talking about bounce rate, bounce rate, bounce rate. That's gone. It's bounced. I don't know where it is. But think about the power that machine learning can bring. And this is why I'm doing these trainings to help people like have their mind go, oh, that's useful, I can do that, or I need to learn this more to bring it to my clients or to my team or to my company, whatever that is. So I'm doing also a Python class, which basically you can take any data, BigQuery data or CSV data. We're going to show some examples of, I think, the email click-through or churn, customer churn examples, and how you can write algorithm to do that. So learn this, learn this, learn this. You are becoming part of the whole analytics program, not just digital or web analytics. Marketing analytics, web analytics are also taking in data from other sources. This data is influencing the other data that's being collected in your organization. So it's helpful to know the full picture. Okay, affiliate marketing, it is currently sending a lot of backend to the GA, and seems like this can replace. Okay, I'm not quite following. If your affiliate marketing data is going in GA, that can go to BigQuery. So from GA to BigQuery, and you can merge it with other sources. Or if it's directly sending to GA and you want to just use that data for further analysis, you can, even without GA integration, you can bring it in BigQuery. So if, let's say, your affiliate marketing is sending to online, it makes sense to have it in GA and then send it over here. Otherwise, if it's like offline, affiliate marketing is also driving sales in a store or some other place that's not directly relevant to online, then you can take all those feeds and bring in here. I hope that answers. If not, then I'm more than happy to have a separate conversation about that, so we can go into details. Any other questions? No? All right. So that's it for now. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me those questions. Maybe I'll create a new training just around that topic that you have sent a question on. This is just the beginning to get you started, just to give you a flavor. The main thing is like, how do you connect, create those APIs, create those, the project, do the linking, and create the APIs, uh, uh, account access. So once you do that, then the data starts to flow in. You know how the data structure looks like, or you can write basic queries and figure it out. Now, writing basic queries is one thing, figuring out what to do with that and how to think about the data is where you'll have to put on a lot of thinking, saying, what do I want to get? Which is another thing that I keep harping on. A lot of people jump into implementing stuff. I want to track this. I want to track this. I want to track this. How can I track this? If you look at the Facebook group that a lot of you are part of, that's why people ask, how do I track this? How do I track this? I'm not having this. I'm not seeing this. Step back and think about, what do you really want to track and why do you want to track and what's the value it's going to drive. Once you understand that, then tracking becomes easier, and also your data analysis will become easier, which I teach in Become a Digital Analyst course. That is a full 3-month course that I teach. That's also available on the site. All right, that's it then. I'm not seeing any other questions. And if your question is not answered, you don't want to put it here, feel free to reach out to me. And sorry for the delay. I don't know why this keeps happening. Somewhere YouTube, if I schedule 3, 4 meetings, it somehow messes up. So I have to clean and just do one live training at a time, because I had a Python training schedule, Google Tag Manager training schedule, and they were messing it up. So I had to delete them and do this session. But in future, I'm just going to clean everything and just have one training. And if you have any ideas about the training that you want to go through, learn, and in these sessions, which are 30-minute, 45-minute sessions, I'm more than happy to do that. Send me those topics. Cool. All right. I only see 2 people have given it a thumbs up. So I hope more of you are going to give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you in the next training. Right? Thank you. Bye. Cool.